Hey guys, welcome to Besterday, where nostalgia reigns supreme. I'm Emilee.
And I'm Bianca.
And we're 90s babies!
Besterday is a podcast where we reminisce on the songs that had your heart, the movies that made you laugh, and everything pop culture from the 80s to the early aughts. So thank Polly Pockets,
Fat Joe.
the hotties on Fat Joe, the hotties on Saved by the Bell.
Those shirts that had said 99% angel on it, 1%
my
devil.
Yes, Hot Topic slay.
The Dare campaigns.
Love it.
Say no to drugs.
Yes, please, guys.
Before we get started, make sure to tag hashtag Besterday on Twitter and Instagram and wherever. Make sure to send us your suggestions and rate us on iTunes. Also, follow me at Emilee Lindner on Twitter.
And me at Bianca and Rogue.
Let's get started.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, so every episode, we start off with This Week in History, which is a cool video series that we do on FuseTV, where we look back at some of the anniversaries that have been happening this week, and just generally stuff that goes down in history a long, long time ago that we are celebrating this week. For example, Michael Jackson's hit single Bad went #1 in 1987.
Wow, that's one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs, actually.
I told you that I wasn't going to sing, but I kind of want to sing.
Do it, girl.
I'm bad! That's it.
That was amazing.
Yes. It's a good song.
It is such a classic. And that when he was trying to be like a rebel bad boy with like the leather jacket and all like the studs and stuff. Yeah, it was a cool look.
Yeah. And then another musical anniversary is in 2006, Diddy's Press Play album topped the charts. It was his first #1 since 1997.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I went back and I listened to a lot of Diddy on Monday morning.
How was that experience?
It was good. It started off my week on a positive note. I have Mario's I Don't Want to Know stuck in my head.
Oh my god.
I've had it stuck in my head for the past 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love the part where Diddy raps, gave you extra cheese, put you in an SUV, you wanted ice, so I made you freeze.
Hey, Emilee has bars, guys.
Yeah, bars with a Z. Yeah, so Diddy, man, he was really on the top of his game around that point, and coming back 10 years later and being able to have #1 was very cool for him. So, and now he's, playing up all that nostalgia on his Bad Boy reunion
Yeah,
tour.
exactly.
And then we have Disney purchasing Lucasfilm for $4 billion in 2012.
Where does someone get $4 billion? Like, that is ridiculous.
I can't even fathom that amount of money.
Yeah.
But for Lucasfilm, I think that it's worth it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair price.
It gave Disney the rights to all the Star Wars movies, which they've been rolling out
non-stop.
Yeah.
Like every year there's a new Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but I do think that there's something in the anticipation of having 30 years in between.
I agree, because like when you keep rolling out the movies so quickly, you lose that that spark, that excitement. So I feel like they should span out the releases more.
Yeah, I mean, we had last year we had a Star Wars movie, and then this December we're getting Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
So
it's never ending.
Disney, give us some more time to
Disney,
just let her
calm down.
Calm down, please take a seat. Walt Disney in your cryocryptic chamber.
How iconic is that, though? That he's like
frozen in time.
Yes.
The movie Frozen is actually about him.
Ah, is that a conspiracy theory?
No, but I do know a conspiracy theory about Frozen. My friend says it's about coming to terms with your menstrual cycle.
Wow.
Because she says, let it go, let it go, can't hold it back anymore.
Ah, that's, actually pretty brilliant.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. Anyways, Disney bought Lucasfilm in 2012, so that wasn't that long ago. But we have had a lot happen since then. That was on October 3rd, so I guess that would be Sunday is the 4th anniversary of that.
Yep. All right, so in today's pop cultural news, The Splat is bringing back, dun dun dun, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Boo!
So it's not coming back on the actual Splat network. They're putting full episodes on YouTube. So they're bringing back all like iconic episodes that they've had in the past and like having the fans be able to view it again on YouTube.
Can you tell me what The Splat is?
The Splat? So it's it's based on from Nickelodeon, and they play all classic 90s shows like Hey Arnold, As Told by Ginger, Real Monsters, Rocket Power, all your favorite shows that you grew up with. You could watch it on The Splat. But it comes on late at night. I think it starts at 10 o'clock at night, so it's not on during the day. It's just like whenever you get home from work, you can reminisce on all the cartoons.
So that is just quite nostalgic for all of the adults who have grown up and can finally stay up past 10:30.
Exactly. They don't have a bedtime anymore, so you can watch it.
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Is that scary?
Looking back, it wasn't that scary, but you know, of course, when you're a child, everything freaks you out, and the stories like that they told like over the bonfire and stuff, it was a little bit freaky, but like watching it now is not that bad.
Compared to American Horror Story, how scary is it?
Well, American Horror Story is like on the umpteenth level of scary.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
I just started watching the first episode of American Horror Story, so I'm not ready for that.
You are in
level of
for
scary.
a wild ride, my friend.
Okay, maybe I should just stick to Are You Afraid of the Dark then?
Yeah, that's a little bit more safe. And in other news, also very nostalgic, a filmmaker named John Wilkstrom, he created a fan-made commercial for Pokemon Sun and Moon. So basically in the video, a young boy is playing a Game Boy Color and playing Pokemon Red, like super old school. And then he grows up, you know, is in the corporate world, and then he sees a Pokemon Sun and Moon the advertisement in a window, and then he reminisces back on when he was a child and he used to play Pokemon, and he saw like Charmander evolve, and it was so cute.
Oh,
like I almost shed a tear. It was very emotional.
You almost shed a tear.
Yeah, because like I had a Game Boy Color. I had the purple see-through one, and I played Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue. You know, all the
What's
classic.
the difference between the colors?
They have different Pokemon.
Oh.
The fire and the water.
You're looking at me right now like, duh.
A lot.
Yeah, Pokemon, I was never into it, but I just love how it's had this lasting sort of legend, you know? I still see that people are going to dress up as Pikachu this year for sure. Halloween. That is how cool it is.
It's adorable.
It stood the test of time. I also watched this video of costumes to do with your baby child, which I do not have.
Yeah.
And one of them was Ash. You can dress as Ash and then have the baby be
Pikachu.
That's
so cute.
Yeah.
Aw. I actually visited my brother at his college over the weekend for family weekend, and we stopped by Walmart to, you know, just pick up college essentials, and we saw like all the Pokemon cards. They still sell them.
Oh my gosh, they still sell them?
Yeah, we freaked out because him and I growing up, we had a binder full of Pokemon cards. We used to play against each other and like our neighbors and stuff, so that brought back so many memories.
Ah, yeah. I didn't even know they still sold the cards because
neither did I.
It's all digital now, but
yeah, they still have them at Walmart if you guys are interested.
Maybe we should get some
and play like some of our Fuse coworkers
and then whoever wins gets to go home early.
That's a good idea.
Or like gets Friday off.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pitch this to our boss.
Please do. So guys, hashtag Besterday and let us know your favorite Pokemon moments throughout the years.
Yes. Oh, we also have 10-year anniversaries coming up too.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. It was a big year, 2006.
2006.
Hey.
One of my favorites is Beyonce's Irreplaceable turned 10 years old
to the left,
this weekend.
To the left.
Everything you own in a box to the left. I love that video because the video is very literal to the lyrics.
It is. Like she's literally pointing to the left.
Yeah.
Thank God for Beyonce for, you know, letting us know about directions.
And the guy is moving out with his box of stuff. Someone's knocking on the door.
Who is outside?
It's the ghost of the man who got kicked out by Beyonce in the Irreplaceable video. My favorite fact about that song is that it was actually written by Neo.
Yeah, and I feel like he's still salty about that.
Why?
That it was a big thing a few years ago where he felt that Beyonce didn't give him enough credit for writing the song. He was like, no, that's my song. Like, I want all the credits, blah, blah. Because, you know, Beyonce low-key puts her name, just like blasts her name on everything just to say she has a credit.
Yeah.
But most of the time she didn't really write the song.
Whoa, that's slander.
So, I'm just saying.
I think that, if you want my opinion, I think that she does have a hand in the creative aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying she writes a song, but I think she will go in and be like, I'm going to say this.
Or like she'll
word
change
instead
a
of-
melody to make it more tuned to her voice or something.
Yeah.
Like she does have a hand, but sometimes I feel like the writers don't really get enough credit for some of the songs.
Yeah, I agree. But then there was the second wave maybe a few years ago where everyone was like, whoa, Neo wrote Irreplaceable? That's so weird. And then
people were just mind blown.
people were, yeah, it was like when T-Pain, people found out T-Pain could sing.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone was just like, whoa.
I didn't know.
Yeah. Fergie's Fergalicious turned 10.
That is my jam.
Really?
Fergalicious definition make the boys go loco.
Loco. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that whole album, Duchess, was such a breakout for her.
It really was.
London Bridge, too,
That's
was
also an
around
amazing
the same
song.
time. Fergalicious turned into this thing where she, along with like Black Eyed Peas, where she was kind of like spitting out some craziness.
Yeah, it was a little bit wacky,
Yeah.
but it worked for her because that was her personality.
Yeah. When she, in Black Eyed Peas, when she was singing My Humps and The Junk in My Trunk and all of this stuff, and everyone was like, what are you singing
Like, what
about?
are these lyrics, Fergie Ferg?
And then she goes off and, first of all, names a song after herself called Fergalicious.
Like, that's super dope, though.
I think it's really, really awesome. And those music videos were so good, too. And I just want that era to come back. And I think she has been trying to. And MILF Money was kind of in the same direction. MILF Money that was put out like 2 months ago.
But there wasn't a lot of push for the single, which let me down because I was like, okay, this is going to be the comeback song. And then just kind of like whittled away.
But did you notice it was very similar to her older music?
It
where
was.
It had different sections,
Mm-hmm.
and
it was very, sexy. There is a cool plot line to it.
And then she's singing some parts, and she's rapping some parts, and some of the stuff doesn't really make sense. Like,
but it's Fergie, so who cares?
So who cares? She's like pouring milk on herself in the music video.
Yeah.
If she came out with another London Bridge, I think that would set it more in motion. Like, she needed another single to kind of follow up MILF Money, and I'm still waiting for that.
As am I. I'm rooting for Fergie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another anniversary, the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance turned 10 as well on Monday.
The whole album.
The whole album. Yeah, it was their third album.
Ooh. You're a big My Chemical Romance fan.
Yeah.
Or was?
I was. Like, I didn't follow up their career after the Black Parade. I mean, they disbanded a few years later, but like 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge was my album when I was in middle school. And then with the Black Parade, like, I loved Teenagers and Welcome to the Black Parade, but the album didn't really stick to me as hard as I feel like in 2006 I was transitioning from rock to pop. So I found like all the pop girls and that kind of like stuck in my head. But I still have a soft spot for My Chemical Romance always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that album was when they were kind of transitioning too, because that's the most mainstream album.
Oh, for sure.
And the most pop album, I'm sure. And it was kind of a little rock opera that they had put out with
they kind
that single.
of went from, the grungy emo boys to something a little bit more, like more mainstream appropriate.
Yeah.
It was cool.
I think it was kind of like the modern day Bohemian Rhapsody, if I do say so.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 20th anniversary of VH1's pop-up video.
Pop-up video.
That is how it went. Pop-up video really capitalized on nostalgia, which is ironic because we're talking about it now as being a nostalgic
Look at that.
entity. But the basis for pop-up video for VH1 was that they'd play music videos and then just tell facts about them. And
I learned so much
brilliant.
stuff from watching pop-up video.
Me too. I they would come up with stupid things too, like sexual innuendos.
Like I remember, like one of Madonna's videos was always like a pop-up about like her favorite sex act or something. Like it was always something naughty.
Some of them didn't even pertain to the song that they were playing. They're
No,
just
not
like,
at all.
Ed Sheeran likes to play with dolls.
And that's it.
And that's it. It's like, this song is about heroin addiction. Okay, so every episode we are digging into major anniversaries, and this week we have two of them.
Two big ones.
Two big album anniversaries. They both turned 10 years old. The first one we're digging into is...
Dun dun dun! Amy Winehouse's Back to Black.
Now.
Oh, there's so much to say about this album. I was telling Emilee earlier that I was listening to the album and I almost cried because it's just so emotional. Even 10 years later, like there's still so much like strength in the album, and it really gets you. Like whenever you listen to it, like you feel for her because it was kind of a foreshadowing, you know, to her untimely death, because she's talking in the album about like self-harm and abuse and her addiction. And it's very, very sad.
And us from the outside, we're listening to that album, and for us, those were pop songs. Those are songs that we listened to on the radio.
Exactly. They were on the radio all the time. I remember going to school and like I would hear Rehab on Z100, you know, in the morning, and it was just like a regular thing.
Yeah, and we're like, oh, this is a catchy melody.
Yeah,
but if you actually listen to it, she's like, it is
like she's revealing her entire soul, and it's pretty awesome. And her voice is just out of this world.
Out of this world crazy. Her story is pretty incredible too, because she was a natural born musician when she was growing up, and she had always had, you know, mental issues and struggles with, you know, eating disorder and all that, and just a tendency for addiction, but she was truly an artist, and that stuff made her who she was, but also of course got in the way.
And I respect her for that, because she wasn't afraid to put all of that in her songs. Like some people try to hide it, but she was very upfront with, you know, okay, I have a problem, I'm addressing it in my music.
Yeah, she was always upfront about it. She was never trying to hide, I don't think.
No, not at all. And I watched the Amy documentary last summer, and seeing that kind of put the album into perspective, what she was going through, because it had a lot of behind the scenes footage, like unheard songs that almost made it to the album, and her as a teenager. So you kind of got to see like her backstory, and it was really, really beautiful.
Yeah, you got to see her as a person, how she interacted with her fans, how she interacted with her manager, with her dad, with her boyfriend, who she was like super close with, but then he ended up betraying her. Yeah. And you got to see her as a human instead of just this icon, which we look at her now as an icon, but we kind of know more about her backstory. But back then, we looked at her as a character, I think. I mean, at least I did, with, you know, the beehive hair.
Yeah, and like the thick eyeliner and the pinup outfits.
Yeah, we're just like, oh, she's playing a character, but there's so much more behind that. I remember watching that documentary too, and she was just very open about her struggles with drugs. Like she would tell her friends. I remember there was the part where she won the Grammy, and she was playing that performance that wasn't at the Grammys, but it was
it was in London, but they streamed it at the Grammys.
And she like turned to her friend and she was like, this isn't fun for me if I'm not on drugs, because she was sober at that point.
And I'm getting chills right now, because I remember that moment too in the film, and it just puts so many things into perspective. Like she didn't, I feel like at a point she didn't want to be singing anymore. She just wanted to, you know, turn to addiction. Yeah.
But I think that is a very honest thing to say too to somebody, just knowing, you know, because I think I don't do drugs, but I just know that a lot of people try and hide their addictions, like you were saying before. And she was very real with herself.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she was able to put it in her music, because she was just so self-aware and she was just so real with herself.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite songs from the album?
Probably the title track.
Yeah.
What about you?
Black. I love some Unholy War. Like it's a very I'll fight for my man to the death type of song. It's very powerful. And it's very like old school bluesy, which I mean the whole album has that vintage feel, but that song is, I feel like it could be like from the 60s. Like it's really cool.
Yeah. The cool thing about her music was that it was really retro, and a lot of people weren't doing that at the time.
Oh, not at
and that
all.
paved the way for like
a Bruno Mars.
And Adele was coming out around that time too, so
like a Sam Smith.
Yeah. And you wouldn't expect that from just like some random UK artist who rose to the spotlight. Like it took a while for some of those songs to catch on. She had an album before this one.
Oh yeah, with Frank.
Yeah, and Frank never really made it in the US, but yeah, man. Ugh.
Yeah.
Such a true talent and great artist.
Guys, let us know, #Besterday, any of your like favorite Amy Winehouse songs or moments from her career, and we'll chat about it.
Yes. Should we move on to the other one?
Yeah, because I'm getting kind of sad, so let's talk about it.
Okay, well, let's talk about another come-up story that is continuing to move upward.
Yes.
Taylor Swift's debut album came out on Monday 10 years ago.
Yes.
So that's crazy because she was just 16 when she put out that album.
Oh, she was a baby.
She was a baby, and now she's 26, obviously.
Yeah.
And this is the album that really set her just on the ground running. The singles were, the first one was Tim McGraw. I don't know if you remember that one.
The thing is, I was listening to, I couldn't listen to her on Spotify because, she doesn't have her song on Spotify, but I was listening on YouTube and I was listening to Teardrops on my guitar and like our song, but I didn't recognize them. I feel like I knew about Taylor with Fearless. That's when I was introduced to her.
Okay.
Yeah, when she became like a little bit more pop. I didn't really know like the country Taylor.
That is really interesting because I went to her Greatest Hits concert this weekend, and she was like, it's coming up on 10 years since I dropped my debut album when I was 16 years old. So let's everyone sing along to a little album I wrote called Fearless. And we're like Taylor,
girl.
Fearless is not your first album, so why did you just point out that you had your... Yeah.
Wait, does she usually perform songs from the first album in her concerts?
No, not really. And in fact, she didn't play any songs from her first
album.
Really?
And that was a whole thing.
I don't think I've ever seen her play one of her songs from Taylor Swift, her self-titled album, which is so strange because that is the one that set her off. And I know she's proud of Fearless, blah blah blah. She got Grammys for it and all, blah blah blah. But how cool is it that you are a little kid and you could write your own songs and you got your own record deal when you were like 15 years old, and you don't want to celebrate that?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I feel like if you guys follow me on Twitter, you know my thoughts on Tay Tay. But I feel like with this song, it was cool to see her transition from, the country girl into pop. And, like, she owned that transition. Like, she wasn't like, oh, my God, I don't know what to do. Like, she was, like, very, like, confident with it. I think that's cool.
Yeah. I love with 1989, she said, this is going to be my pop album. But everyone was already thinking, oh,
like she's already done pop
already, because she had made that transition pretty seamless.
Yeah.
A lot of the country music that is on country radio, I consider pop anyways because it has those sing-along melodies.
Sure, those there's hooks are just catchy.
It has the hooks. They just have a southern twang and a steel guitar. Or with Taylor's music, it was like steel guitar. She had her southern accent.
Like even with Carrie Underwood too. Like I consider her pop. Yeah. But she still, has that country twang to her. But I don't know. It's a fine line.
Yeah. The real country, I think people would argue, would be country western, the stuff that, like, your grandparents listened to.
Oh, yeah.
But that stuff is pretty much not existent anymore. There is some good like Americana stuff out there, but with Taylor Swift, and she was kind of following in everybody's footsteps with like Shania Twain. I know it was one of her favorites, Faith Hill and all that.
Yeah, I was gonna say like her songs like reminded me of Faith Hill.
Yeah. So I think that she was able to make it on radio because she had the appeal of both. And I just remember I wrote this piece for Fuse, and I asked a lot of people where they were when they first heard Taylor Swift, because my experience was very, very memorable. I just remember sitting on the bus and listening to Teardrops on my guitar and thinking, wow, I can't believe this is on the radio, because it did sound kind of country-ish, but it was cool that they were actually playing it on the radio.
Yeah.
Little did I know that the person I was listening to was 16 years old. I had no
Isn't that
idea.
crazy?
And then our song came out, and our song really blew up. And when I look back and listen to that song, where she is basically writing about how she doesn't have a song, her and her boyfriend don't have a love song, so she's writing one herself. And
that's really cute. I could definitely say she knows how to write a song.
Yeah, she does.
Girl knows how to write a hit.
Oh my gosh. Write this down in history. Bianca is actually saying nice words about Taylor Swift. But hearing her say, our song is a slamming scream door, sneaking out late, tapping on your window, listing out all of these observations that as a teenager I never would have thought about. And I never would have thought to put it in a song, and I never would have thought to make it our love song.
But then she puts it in perspective, and then her fans like, yeah, I could relate to that.
Yeah.
You know, like teen love. That's
cool. That's the cool thing about Taylor Swift, is that she actually makes small observations about relationships, which it sucks that people kind of dissect that and say that she dates too much or whatever. But she's taking small observations about relationships, making it into a concept for a song, and then putting it out to her listeners and having them read out of her journal. And that's what makes a great songwriter.
There you go. And guys, if you haven't read Emilee's piece on going to the Grand Prix, the Taylor show, please do, because it is awesome.
Hey, thanks. That was a good time.
Yeah. It looked amazing.
Yeah.
It looked like you made like a lot of good friends too.
I made a lot of good friends, and it was really strange because I was at a Taylor Swift concert, but I was also at a Grand Prix car race.
Which is crazy. Like, who does that?
And Usher headlined the next day with The Roots, but I wasn't there for that. But it was just so strange. I'm like, I'm going to the stage now, but I have to walk past all of these Formula One cars whizzing past me.
That had to be so cool.
It was cool. It was very cool.
All right, transition.
Cool. Okay.
All right, it's time for Song of the Week. We should make that a jingle. You know.
Song of the Week.
Song of the Week.
Oh, my sore throat hurts. What's yours?
All right, so my Song of the Week is, okay, do you remember the Corrs? They're an Irish pop rock band. I chose the Corrs because I was, listening to the Taylor Swift album, and the Corrs are kind of like country pop rock, Celtic. So the song is called Breathless.
Okay.
It's like, go on, go on.
I don't.
Come on, leave me breathless.
Oh, that sounds really familiar.
I'll play the video after this. If you guys know the Corrs, tag me on Twitter and let me know your fandom.
Yeah,
but
you guys can reminisce together because I'm
Breathless,
not helping.
Yeah, Breathless is my throwback song of the week.
My throwback of the song of the week is Fat Joe's, Lean Back.
Yes.
That's him, right? Okay. Feels like, I hope I have this right.
Yeah, the Terror Squad.
Yes, a lean back. A lean back. I don't know why I've been thinking about Fat Joe recently, but
it's very specific artist.
I just know that he has been having some good times recently.
Yeah.
I just think that he had a hit song this summer, and that is not something that every artist can say, that they've had a hit song in 2016 and 2003 or 2004 or whenever Lean Back. I think that was 2004. So big ups to Fat Joe.
Oh yeah.
Who's actually kind of skinny now.
Yeah. Yeah, Skinny Joe.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that is our show for the week. So, like we said before, hashtag Besterday on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to us on iTunes.
Yes, don't forget, hashtag Besterday. See you later.
Bye.